Welcome to X-Connect TV. My name is Kareem Kanji. Thank you for joining us this week. As always, want to tell you where you can find us. I hope that you're watching this on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube, of course, at youtube.com/xconnecttv. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. We're also on the web, xconnectto.com, and on Facebook and Twitter, both xconnectto. And we have a great guest for today, someone that I've been following, I guess, from 2009.
Yeah.
And finally get to sit down and chat in front of a camera and talk, but we've chatted many times before. This is Danny Brown, the presently VP of Partner Strategy at Jugnoo Inc.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming.
No, thanks. I'd like to say we've sort of floated in and out that often and never really actually sat down and properly talked to each other, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And I didn't know you had a British accent.
Yep.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But I guess the first thing I want to talk to you about, and I really want to get into what you're doing at Jugnoo, and you've been really in the social space and marketing for many years, considered an expert. But recently, you have been talking in the various social channels about a company called Clout out of San Francisco. And you've got some opinions about them, and for those people that don't know Clout, they basically take everything that you're doing online in the social sphere and rate you out of 100 and give you a Clout score. And obviously the higher and closer you get to 100, the more influential you are, and of course the lower you are to 0, the less influential you are. And you know, when I go to check your Clout score, you don't have one because you haven't registered on there.
Doggy.
But I would assume that if you did, you'd probably have a high number. But you've got some thoughts and opinions on Clout. I'd love for you to share them with me and talk about that a bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't have a Clout account. I did have one because when it first came out, I was really interested as a marketer in the social media space. I was interested to see how influence works and how brands can connect with people that can share a message organically. So I registered, started to investigate it, and then some of the cracks started to appear, and realised that the way they score it's pretty haphazard. I am an expert on, or when I was on Clout, I was an expert on sheep. Because I wrote,
sheep?
Yeah, I wrote a blog post once about what happens when social media leaders lose their sheep. People start to think for themselves and question social media leaders. The fact that my blog post had sheep in the title got picked up by Clout, and suddenly I was influential in sheep. So that shows the metrics are pretty skewed.
Yeah.
The problem with Clout, the idea, the genesis of Clout is a worthwhile one to try identify social influencers or people that have a wider reach that brands can connect with and that people trust in a bigger sphere, if you like. The way they do it isn't so good. I mean, they claim to be the standard for online influence and for influence, full stop. So that takes into account offline influence, etc.
Yeah.
And they only measure about 10 or 12 platforms max.
Yes.
So I don't know how you can class someone as an influencer when you're not even looking at likes of Bebo, which is Europe's biggest social network.
Yes.
You're not looking at the Asian market, which is a massive market, obviously.
Sure.
And just the way the system can be gamed. If I can be an expert in sheep, for example, you could be an expert in kilts.
Yeah.
By just speaking and tweeting about kilts, you might know nothing about them, but Clout would recognise you as an expert and put you up here as an expert. Brands that want to connect with kilt experts now pay Clout $25,000, $30,000 and upwards to connect with you via Clout perk. Yeah. And it doesn't mean anything to that brand. So it's a really weird way. And there's a big question about the privacy. Clout creates the profiles for you. So if you're on Twitter and you have a public Twitter feed, Clout automatically creates a profile for you. You don't have a say in that.
Yeah.
They allocate you a score which can impact a job search you're going for, a marketing company or a company that looks at Clout scores as a potential score point for your job application. And it's a non-regulated score. So there's a lot of questions about the legality, the ethics behind the company, the privacy side. They were targeting minors in a recent campaign. Even though the website privacy says they're not interested in minors, they were targeting minors over a recent campaign. So there's all this stuff that's very questionable about how Clout goes about it.
It's interesting that you actually have to opt out rather than opt in.
Yeah.
It seems that most platforms are opt in, and so is it Is it something that they have with Twitter, an agreement with Twitter, or how has that worked?
Yeah, we question them all the time on why they can create profiles without people's specific permission. And the Canadian Commission is looking into it at the moment, as is the EU privacy law guys. Okay. They're looking into it. They've had a few complaints from bloggers in Europe. Basically, the cloud's reasoning is we're only pulling information that's publicly accessible. Sure. Much like a Google searching your name. Fair enough. If you're Google. The problem is when you go to Google, you opt into Google by having a blog, by making a public Twitter feed public, by going on Facebook and sharing your posts. You allow Google to search you. If you don't want that, you can stop Google tracking you by a simple tracking code. Cloud doesn't give you that option really. Yes, they allow you to opt out, but a lot of people aren't even aware they've got a cloud profile. Sure. Justin Bieber is the poster child for cloud. They always use that Justin Bieber's got the perfect cloud score of 100. He hasn't even registered his account. He probably doesn't even know about cloud. Probably doesn't. And that's why it's interesting. It's just weird, how you have to opt out of something that the reason they're doing it. Say, well, you've got a public Twitter profile, we can pull the feed. But if you go to Twitter's terms of services, you allow them to share information with third parties. That's fine, you understand that. Sure. If you're not paying for a product, you essentially are the product. So. Of course. But that, for me, that's saying we will sell your information to advertisers that may want to connect with you through sponsored tweets, for example. Sure. That doesn't give a company like Cloud permission to go and create a fully fledged profile with a score that can impact your professional life. Yeah, actually, it's one thing to take all these public information. It's another thing to say, you know what, Danny Brown has a clout influence of 50, and so then when you are looking at your next move career-wise, a potential employer like I said, I look at that and go, I thought Danny was everything, and he's only got a 50. Let me go talk to so and so because they seem to have a higher clout. They must know more than that. So it's very interesting how they have those things. You're now with Jugnoo, and I should say now because you've been with them for almost a year. Yeah, November last year, I know for 7 years. What is Jugnoo all about? And the reason I ask, I know a little bit through you and a couple of other people that work there as well, but there's a lot of noise in terms of a lot of people talking about it. You've got an event coming up next week where you've got some really high-level speakers. Why don't you do this? Talk to a little bit about the event that you have next week, and what is Jugnoo all about? Yeah, sure. Well, the event next week, it's on Thursday, 26th of July in Toronto, and it's called Social Mix 2012. You can go to the website socialmix2012.com, find out more about it, the speakers, buy your tickets, etc. Yeah. Essentially what it is, we're looking to bring, as you say, world-class speakers to Toronto and share their wisdom and their smarts and their expertise, how to succeed in social media, how to succeed in business, and how to build a brand, whether it's a professional, personal brand or a business, and how to really connect with your customers and measure the success. So we really want the visitors to the event to come away and really have 4 or 5 key takeaways that they can go back to their own business or their own personal life or whatever and implement them and really see growth in that business. Sure. We've got the likes of Gary Vaynerchuk coming, awesome speaker. Toronto's on, PEI's on Amber Mac, but we sort of stole her in Toronto. Sure. She lives here now. So so we can class Amber as Toronto. Matt Hickson, a very smart guy from Portland. He's going to be talking about social intelligence around influencer models and true influence. Interesting. As opposed to the clouds and the creds of the world. Yeah. Jeff Livingston and Julie Dietrich just released a book called Marketing and Around. Yeah. Saul Colt, the Fresh Books guy. Yeah. So it's a really world, and some Scotsman is going to be speaking. Some dude with a weird accent and a shaved head, but it's a really good lineup, and I think it's going to be a really great event. And proceeds go to the Remix Project in Toronto, which is a great organisation. It helps disadvantaged kids raise up their game to be the next leaders of tomorrow's business world. Yeah, we're fans of the Remix Project here at Third Ocean as well, doing some work with them too. Awesome. Jugnoo, what is it? Okay, Jugnoo is a social CRM company. Our mantra is to empower businesses to connect better with their customers and to enable customers to really get in touch with the business from a more human connection level. It's an old saying, people do business with people. Sure. So we're in the ING building, for example. That's a huge financial organisation, but ING are also very successful on social media. media, they have a great
True.
reputation because they connect as a one-to-one, person, if you like.
Yeah.
So Jugnoo enables businesses to connect with consumers and customers through a platform and manage that effectively. So it could be customer service, it could be HR, it could be advertising, marketing, social media, community management, brand reputation, whatever you can think of around your business goals to make your business successful and ensure that people see your business as one that's doing it right. We will give you the tool sets and the strategies to do that, because we also have a very strong educational component as well as just the software.
Okay.
So we allow you to monitor your brand, for example, using social monitoring.
Okay.
We allocate sentiment to that for positive, neutral, negative. We give you social analytics. We allow you to sort of see it in the sales cycle and find out, based on natural conversations, when people are sort of aiming towards a purchase or if they're just looking for a question and answer from the brand. Our tools, we're very lucky. We've got some really smart people working in the R&D team, and they're coming up with some really cool tools to really make these connections happen effectively.
Interesting. So it's more than just a social media dashboard to manage your Facebook or Twitter or YouTube accounts and to publish stuff. It's more to enable professionals and businesses to actually utilize social media for sales. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, every business needs to have sales to succeed. It could be like a large organisation or a small mom and pop, shop. But without sales, you fold. And to get sales, you need customers. Once you have customers, you need to keep these customers to continue to get sales and bring new customers on board.
Interesting.
So we are trying to make it easier for brands to really get into the mindset of, because I mean, CRM, it's a complete business strategy. It's not just something you can bolt on.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see the likes of Salesforce buying Radiant 6, for example, and media to try and bring that on board, as opposed to building it from scratch with the strategy fully in mind with customers. So our goal is to really, because we built it from the scratch, from the start, with the customers and the businesses in mind, it will really help them connect with each other. And as you say, it's more than just a dashboard to do that. Sure, you can use Twitter, Facebook, etc. in our dashboard, but we bring everything together so it makes sense. So you'll have the analytics that show you your campaigns are making sense. You'll have the sentiment to show, okay, maybe today we're going to concentrate on negative sentiment and really turn the reputation of a brand back to at least a neutral, if not a positive. We also have a patented product called Ching, which is a nice little cash register sound. And that's where it comes into the sales cycle and the purchase cycle. And again, we've got a patented, there's a lot of patented products that we can't really talk about, but they're coming online, where we monitor the conversations online but go for the natural conversations. So you and I are talking and having a conversation here, it's natural, there's no scripted, whatever. The problem with a lot of monitoring tools, you still have to act along a certain script for keywords to be pulled out. Our natural speech recognition allows us to identify pain points of a customer and alert the brands that are allowed access to that customer, because it's all permission based as well. We want our customers to feel confident that we're not going to throw brands at them. It's brands or businesses that they've sort of signed up to say, yes, I'm interested in this product, this product, this product. And based on the conversation that I'm having online, if an opportunity arises for a brand to fix me with a solution, I'm open to that coming in. So it's a very comprehensive CRM package where you have the social dashboard, you have the monitoring, brand reputation, but you also have a very, very strong lead generation and purchase cycle tool set there as well.
A la Salesforce.
Right, exactly.
And so I guess I was going to ask in terms of competition or companies that are doing similar things. You would consider Salesforce someone that, or the type of company or business that you'd like to compete against, or at least do similar things. And if someone's sitting down, deciding who do I use, you'd like to be at that table and say, this is why you need to use Jugnoo.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We always get asked, well, who's your competitors? People will say Hootsuite, for example. And Hootsuite are great at what they do, but they're purely a social dashboard. They don't really get into the business side of things. And even their enterprise model is fairly, it's still towards a social dashboard.
Of course.
With expanded analytics, but from a purchase cycle, there's no meat there.
They don't have that.
Salesforce weren't really a social dashboard company. Now they're bringing the likes of Buddy Media and Radiant 6 on. So they're trying to get that way. But again, I guess our competition It's hard to say who we see.
But you would take the best of Hootsuite and the best of
Right, yeah.
Salesforce, and this is what you guys are attempting to build
Exactly.
at Jugnoo.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a great comparison. And that was the genesis of our platform. Originally, we take the best of the online dashboards and bring them all under one roof. And that's just continued to grow as we've expanded and really fleshed out the CRM properties that we started with to bring on the purchase cycle, for the companies from small businesses all the way up to enterprise level. Everyone's got a different solution that we tailor to that particular company.
Very interesting. What made you decide to join Jugnoo?
Two things. One was Hesse Jones, who you know.
Yes.
Hesse Jones is awesome. And any company that Hess is at, you have to think, okay, there's something interesting happening there.
Yeah.
And when I came in and I saw the platform and what the goal was and the vision for the company to really make social media simple for everybody and affordable, because that's a big problem. A lot of companies can't afford the solutions that are out there. So we really want to make it affordable. And the whole vision of making the web like that for whatever size of company it was, that attracted me. And when I saw what was coming down the pipeline, which is now coming to fruition, 6 or 8 months later.
Sure.
Because we're still in beta. It's obviously, yourself in technology. You have something, and it always grows, and you always get something new.
Yeah.
And you're either trying to keep up with the competition, or you see a really new, cool option that you want to try and implement into your solutions. But we're now bringing the platform to where it should be ready for public consumption.
Yeah.
And what's coming down the line for the next 2 to 3 months with the visual data tools that we've got in-house, that's really exciting. That's where we're, as I mentioned earlier, where we're talking about natural conversations. I think that's going to be like a big play in 2013, where you have, just like us talking, and you can pull the nuggets from that and say, okay, if that was a social monitoring tool and a script, that would have missed that part. But the fact we've got it tailored for natural conversations, we can pick it up.
Is it certain words that are used online that show that it's natural? Like how does one determine it's natural? Is it taking a look at two people talking? If there's a brand involved, it's automatically dismissed?
Yeah, I mean it's and this is where it gets technical, and I won't even try to go technical because I'm not a technical, I'm a Luddite. But yeah, essentially what we're doing is we're going through the archives of Twitter. We have the firehose access, so we can pull the archives from Twitter back to 2006.
Yeah.
You can look at people that's using our platform, and also is open to public feeds and allows you to track their conversations online. And we sort of build a persona of this person, how they speak, what their slang is, what their natural emotions are like. So they get excited about Justin Bieber, but they get really aggressive about Carly Rae Jepsen, for example. We can identify that just by the conversations. So what would happen then is you would see, okay, he's, Kareem speaking about, I hate my house being cold.
Yeah.
So that could be a whole bunch of things like, okay, is your furnace broken? Do you have a hole in the window? Can you afford to pay your heating bills? Is your roof letting out heat, etc.? So that's one example.
Yeah.
Now, normally you'd have to say, okay, you're going to Google and say, okay, HVAC or furnace companies, Toronto.
Sure.
But people don't normally speak about HVAC online. They say, okay, like you say, my house is cold. Now, by that one single line of conversation, you've got 4 companies that could potentially offer a solution to this person. You've got the glazer for the window, you've got the furnace for the furnace, you've got the roofer for the roof, and you've got the bank or their financial advisor to help them out with the finances, for example.
Yeah.
So that's the natural progression of social search and social monitoring to take it to that level of sophistication.
So if I was a roofer utilizing Jugnoo, a tweet like that or a Facebook update or whatever like that would be theoretically pulled into my stream or something.
Right, yeah. We're building a social hub, and as the end user, as a business user, you would have these conversations drop into the hub. And based on what you've got filtered, one of them would like buzz as an alert, and it says, hey, you want to check this out? Yeah, we won't speak to you, but you get the idea.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's from the business.
That would be a good tool to vent.
Well, yeah,
we type that in.
Get it patented now. But yeah, so that's on the business side, and the consumer, like I say, we want to make it all permission based, so we don't want people just to get hit by businesses spamming them. We really want to educate them on best practices and make sure that from the consumer side, they will say, okay, well, yeah, I understand you're going to be tracking my online conversations, and these are the kind of companies or industries I'm allowed to contact me.
Interesting. Now, you and I first chatted online, and I can't remember if it was email or Facebook or Twitter, but we first, through an initiative that you had started back in 2009 called 12 for 12, which stood for 12 months and 12 charities, raising $12,000 for each of them.
That's correct, yeah.
For a month. And when I first saw that, and you shocked me when you said 2009, I thought it was 2010.
Yeah, I know,
So that's a while back. So in 2009, something like that, you know, it's only a few years ago, but a few years ago in social media is the dark ages.
Yeah.
You know?
There was no Google Plus.
No, there wasn't, and there was MySpace.
Yeah.
What was the impetus for that? And that's the first question. What was the impetus of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always wanted to help charities. You know, I try to donate where I can. My wife is the same, and my friends. We have a little group that we donate local and help at food bank. And I've seen you actually helping local charities as well.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to give back if you're in a position to give back. I was at Niagara Falls for my 40th birthday. That was the last day my wife and I were having a coffee in a little restaurant, and this little old lady was sat on her own. She looked really sad, but you don't think of going up to speak or whatever.
Sure.
And I just thought about that all the way home on the train, thinking, whatever her husband had died, this was her favourite place.
Yeah.
She maybe wanted some company or whatever. And it was the fact that nobody reaches out to try and see if someone wants somebody to comfort or a company. That tied into the whole charity angle that says, you know, we've got this great tool, social media, that can reach so many people. Why not use it for charity? Because nobody really used it. You had Twestival, Tweetsgiving, which is a great, you know, great Twitter charity come out of the US. You'd had stuff like that, but nobody really locked down a campaign for social media fundraising. So I spoke to a bunch of friends, everybody was up for it right away. We put the site up, we connected with the charities we wanted to help with, and you know, it took off really well. It was so humbling to see everybody sort of buy into this concept, and we ended up raising just over $100,000 over that 12-month period from 2009 to January 2010.
Wow,
that was pretty cool.
And so when I first saw it, I can't remember when I saw it, I guess it must have been 2009. What astonished me was all the people that were participating.
Yeah.
You know, people's Twitter avatars had the 12 by 12 ribbon on it. You had the website on. You had some of what, in my opinion, at that time, some of the top marketing and social media people participating in it and promoting it. And it was like, and then I found out it's some local guy named Danny Brown. You know,
and friends.
And
it was always a team effort.
Of course, yeah. But you know, I guess the impetus came from you. You know, you can be humble, but I'll tell everybody. But yeah, and it surprised me. It was like amazing how, because it was still early in social media, but here was someone who had managed to bring together some of the most influential online people in Canada and the States to help out for a month to raise money for charities. How were you able to do that? What was it about you?
I don't think it was about me. I think it was the whole concept of the program. It was 12 different charities, and it was a 12-month-long program, and I think people thought, wow, this can actually... And it was charities that nobody, apart from, say, 2 or 3 big ones throughout the year that actually approached us to help, which was nice. But other charities were ones that people hadn't really heard of, and it was great to raise awareness. And I think people just wanted the idea of, you know what, let's show social media can make a difference. Because obviously back in 2009, and even today, people think social media is a fad, it's a joke.
Sure.
And I think it was a combination of, it was the right time. Social media was still sort of an ideal for what can be done, what could be done with it. It was the fact that it was so upfront that everybody knew exactly where the money was going. We had nobody in 12 for 12 took any cut, no admin costs. So all donations went straight to the charity. And we always chose charities that only had a 10% admin cost or less. Okay. So as much money as possible went to the people that needed it. And all our records were open, people would get receipts for the donations, etc. So everything was up front. And I think that's what people bought into. And the fact it was so easy to donate, we asked for a minimum of $10, but whatever you could afford really. You know, and obviously the touching thing as well, there was people that were having hardships of their own, but they still managed to find the $10 to donate to the charities, you know, and that's what shows you, for me, that's what shows you the power of the crowd versus the power of, say, 1 or 2 influencers. Not to take away the guys that helped us at that time, but if you look at influence today, for example, it makes me question how many people that are classed as influential today
Sure.
would do what these guys back in 2009 did. Anne Handley was great, like Marketing Plus, for example.
Mhm.
And she was the first real big name to wear the 12 for 12 avatar. So that
Yeah.
was pretty funky.
Interesting. Do you think something like that can work today? And the reason I ask that is, like you said, would people of influence do that today or not? People are busy. It
Yeah.
seems busier today than they've ever been. So even things like Twestival is not happening anymore.
Yeah.
Can something like this work today?
I think it can. I mean, there's some great charitable, stuff going on still with social media, and there's some great people that have got a lot of power, if you like,
Sure.
or influence that do great stuff, via their blogs or they tweet out, and they'll help charities that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's difficult to do something like 12 for 12 because we found that it's on hiatus at the moment, and we'll probably come back and do like an annual thing or something.
Nice.
But it's really tough to do a 12-month long campaign
Yeah.
and sustain it over that period of time and pick charities that people connect to as well, because a lot of people want to help in their local towns and cities, and that's perfect, that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So going online and trying to get someone in London, UK to care about a charity in Mississauga, for example, can be a tough sell.
Sure.
Our goal originally with 12 for 12 towards the end of the first year was to set up a bunch of pilots in different cities, or chapters I should say,
Sure.
and then that allows you to bring your friends together under the 12 for 12 banner and help your local charities in your cities. And we did that for Christmas 2009, where we had a bunch of like 100, 150 cities combined to just purely not raise any money, but go out and buy stuff for homeless people and give, tents, sleeping bags, socks, shoes, etc. So that kind of thing we maybe come back to, and I think there's definitely, social media is perfect for raising funds and awareness especially.
Yeah.
Something like 12 for 12 might be difficult, but there's great stuff happening now with people, Tweetsgiving is an annual thing that continues, and Stacey Monk over in the US and her team do a great job of that. Twestival seems to be dying off a little bit. Hopefully that can continue.
Sure.
It's pretty cool.
And I'm curious, and I was actually trying to lead you somewhere. But recently you blogged based on some stuff online that had happened to you, but you blogged about trust, about online trust.
Yeah.
Is that important in your mind, and why is that important? Because I think I take a look at you and I take a look at what you've done, and you're one of the top bloggers in North America. You have done obviously things like 12 for 12, and now VP of a startup that's making a lot of noise. And so over the years, you've developed a persona for yourself. People understand who Danny Brown is. They understand what he stands for, what he does. There's that trust that people have in what Danny would do or Danny would not do. How important is that for you, and should that be important for other people within this space?
Yeah, I think trust is the only currency that matters. I could go perfect example, everybody talks about advertising and how that's meant to be dying, because now people listen to consumer peer-to-peer recommendations,
Sure.
whether it's on social networks or just down the street over a beer or whatever. And you look at Tiger Woods, you think, I don't think you drive a Buick, mate. You have to trust the company you're buying from. You have to trust the people you're speaking to. You have to trust, I trust you to not make me look 100 years old. When you go to the...
I'm not that good of an editor, but I'll make it look taller.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. But yeah, trust is the only currency that's worth anything. If I can't trust someone, I'll trust anybody until they break, and then you have to work really hard to get that back, if at all. And it's what separates companies, and it's what separates people. You can look at, say, top bloggers today, and you know that they're a different person than they were 2 years ago, because they're maybe shilling all the time their affiliate products, their books, their webinars, etc. And you think, you have an audience, and they're your audience because of that trust, and because they know that you stand for a certain thing. And from my own personal point of view, I just want people to know that no matter what I say, it's said honestly, and they can challenge it if they wish,
Sure.
and really make me rethink my opinion.
Yeah.
And same vice versa. So I think if you don't have that connection, you're not going to succeed full stop. You might succeed for a little bit, but then once the advertising dollars runs out and people see you for what you are, then you're going to fall, pretty quickly.
Interesting. Just one last question. In Toronto, or the Greater Toronto area, because you live just outside the city, is there one person or one company that you think and I know you're working with Jugnoo and you've got some great people there, but outside of that, is there one person or one company that you feel that, people who are watching the show, people that are interested in social media and marketing, that we should, take a look at maybe their blog or their Facebook account or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, one guy that I've always respected is Dave Fleet.
Okay.
Yeah, you know Dave Fleet.
Is it because you guys are from Great Britain?
You know what, might be. No, I just think Dave's a really smart guy. He's done really well for himself as well. He's over at Edelman here in Toronto, leading digital offices there. But when you read his blog, he doesn't blog as often as he used to, so I'm guessing Edelman must be keeping him busy and late at night. But yeah, he's like a very down-to-earth guy, and he always writes smart stuff on his blog at davefleet.com. Primarily about PR and social media and communications, but there's always some little nuggets you can take for any part of your business from that. So Dave's a good guy to follow.
Awesome. Danny, appreciate you coming by. It's been a long time coming, and thanks for agreeing to come here. If people want to connect with you, where can they do so?
You can go to my blog, dannybrown.me, Danny Brown on Twitter, and then jugnoo.com if you want to check us out with what we're up to, and our blog over there. I'm a sort of guest over there now and again. So
excellent, fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, thanks.
Thank you for watching and joining us here. Again, my name is Kareem Kanji. You can find me on Twitter at Kareem Kanji. Look forward to chatting with you soon. Thank you.